In example 3, we're going to use Cramer's rule to solve a 3 by 3 system. It's going to be done pretty much the same way that we did the 2 by 2 system. The first thing you want to notice as you look at this system is not everything is kind of how we want it lined up. We always want our x's, then our y's, then our z's, and then our constants on the right. So let's rearrange this a little bit. If we rewrite it, the top equation, we can combine our like terms on that right-hand side. So we have negative x minus 2y. Notice we have no z's, so we're going to put in just a plus 0z so we remember what's in that column. And that's going to be equal to 8. Then in my second one, there's nothing that I need to fix, so I'm going to leave that as 3x minus 6y plus, I'm going to put a 1 in front of my z just so I remember that's the coefficient, and that's equal to 15. And then my third one, if you take a look, this 1 is on the wrong side. I want to move that over here, so I've got to subtract it. And notice I have no z term, so just like here, I'm going to put in that filler of 0 times z. So I have 2x plus 5y plus 0 times z, and that's going to be equal to negative 1. And this system is just asking me to find the value of x. So x is what I'm going to be going through and solving. So if I set it up, I get x is equal to, then remember the denominator is going to be my coefficient matrix. So down here, I'm going to set it up as negative 1, negative 2, and 0, 3, negative 6, and 1, 2, 5, and 0. And then on the top, I am going to go ahead and I'm going to replace my constants right here with where my x's are, over here. So my first column here would be 8, 15, and negative 1. And then the coefficients will stay the same. So I still have negative 2, negative 6, and 5, 0, 1, and 0. And now what I need to do is I need to find the determinant of these 3 by 3s. So thinking back to our patterns from before, to find my determinants, I'm going to start with my 8 here. That's going to be the number out in front. And I'm multiplying that by the determinant of, remember I crossed these out, so it's going to be the determinant of these 4 numbers. So negative 6, 1, 5, and 0. Then I'm going to subtract my negative 2. So I'm subtracting the negative 2, which will make this a positive 2, times the determinant. So remember, if I take the 2, I'm crossing these out, I'm left with the 15, negative 1, and the 1 and 0. So this is 15, negative 1, 1, and 0. And then I'm going to add on to that my last number, which is 0, times the determinant. So if I cross these out, my determinant I'm taking are these 4 numbers right here. So I have 15, negative 6, negative 1, and 5. That's my numerator. Then if I go ahead and take a look at my denominator, in my denominator, I'm going to start with my negative 1 in front, and that's going to be multiplied by the determinant. Now remember, I'm taking this out here, so my determinant that's left is going to be this part right here. So I have negative 6, 1, 5, and 0. Then I'm subtracting, so I'm taking the opposite of my next number, which here is negative 2. So that's going to become a positive 2 here, times my determinant. Remember, I'm taking out this top row and the middle column. So if I take out all this, the only things that are left are the 3, the 1, the 2, and the 0. So this becomes 3, 1, 2, and 0. And then I'm going to add on my last part, which is my 0, times my determinant, which if I take out this row and this column, I'm just left with this box right here, which is 3, negative 6, 2, and 5. And then I'm going to work down. So if I come down here, this is all going to equal, in my numerator, I have 8. And then remember, if I'm taking that determinant and multiplying these two together, minus these two. So I have negative 6 times 0, which is 0, minus 5 times 1, which is 5, plus 2 times 15 times 0, which is 0, minus negative 1 times 1 is negative 1, so this becomes a positive 1, plus 0. 0 times anything is going to be 0, so it doesn't really matter what's in that determinant there. Once I multiply it by 0, this whole term is going to be 0 because that 0 is out in front. So that's just 0 down there. Then my denominator, I'm going to have negative 1 times negative 6 times 0 is 0, minus 1 times 5, which is 5. Then I have plus 2. 3 times 0 is 0, minus 2 times 1, which is 2. And then I have that 0 again. So this whole term here, because of that 0 out in front that I'm multiplying by, that will also go to 0. So then I'm left with, on the top, I have 8 times negative 5 plus 2 times 1. And then in the denominator, I have negative 1 times negative 5 plus 2 times negative 2. And that's going to equal, on the top, negative 38 if I multiply and add that all up. And my denominator is going to equal positive 1. So all in all, I get an answer that x is going to be negative 38. Next, I would like you to try, or do the try this. In the try this, you're going to work through finding y and z. So you can go ahead and pause it, unpause it when you're ready to check your answer. If you did the try this correctly, you should have gotten x to equal, or not x, sorry, y to equal 1 over 6. And you should have gotten z to equal 2/3. If you have any questions, please let me know.